2023 is an amazing time to be an electric skateboarder. There are tons of new product releases and even new companies popping up that it's hard to keep track of them all. That's why I made this video, because I've been tracking all the major electric skateboards that have been announced or released this year in 2023. I'm not going through these in any particular order, but feel free to jump around using the timestamps down below. Also, in the video description, I have a list of all the boards with their respective links. Feel free to check them out. There are a lot of really amazing boards, so let's get to it. The first one is my personal favorite. It's called the Magnetic RS Plus by SKP. This is a board that's on my radar for quite a while now, and I'm actually thinking about buying this. This monster of a board will run you close to $7,000. Its top speed is 80 miles per hour. It's using a battery configuration of 18S6P, and its ESC is pushing 560 amps. To give you a good comparison, a normal skateboard would have something around like 60 amps, and this one's running 560 amps, close to 10 times higher. It's got close to 27 horsepower under your feet. This is a monster of a board. It also has a Daviga onboard telemetry screen installed. It also has LTE internet installed so that you can track the location of this board and pass back real-time telemetry data to a third-party software. So if you're doing racing, if you just want family members to track where you are and your speed and everything, this does that. And it also uses magnetic gear drive. It's a gearbox that runs on oil instead of grease. It provides better rolling resistance and superior lubrication. All in all, this is the new LaCroix, since LaCroix went bankrupt. But that's a whole different story. It is available for purchase. It's only $6,990 plus tax. The next one on the list is the Magnetic R by SKP. This is a more tamed version of the RS Plus and comes in at only $4,990. It's got a top speed of 50 miles per hour. It's using a battery configuration of 14S10P and is pushing 280 amps in the ESC department. It's got a range of 70 miles and also has the Daviga onboard telemetry screen installed. Daviga is something incredibly nice to have on the board. Now I'm trying to debate about the RS Plus and the R, but I really don't need that much power with the RS, so I might get the R instead. If you're interested in how this board would perform, be sure to be subscribed. The next one is the Radium Mach One M1. It is a gorgeous Formula One inspired design, perhaps one of the most beautiful boards I've ever seen. It comes in at $3,300. So what's unique about this board is the radium torque steering, also known as RTS. It allows the motors to be controlled independently of each other, so that gives you this increased traction and increased control when cornering. And this is very specific because normally most boards do not have this. The deck is also interchangeable. The top speed of this board is 44 miles per hour, but it's only using a 12S6P battery configuration, which is plenty good and enough in my opinion. The ESC pushes 300 amps and it goes from 0 to 30 miles per hour in just under 3 seconds. It's got a range of 36 miles and it uses beefy 6485 radium motors. These motors are massive. It also has a split angle deck and rubber wheel with foam cores. It's aimed to be released in mid-2024, but it's announced in 2023. So yeah, this is also something on my radar, so please let me know down below whether if you would like to see the Radium Mach 1 reviewed or the Magnetic R by SKP. The next board on the list is Hoyt Tabor. This board has 3 battery size configurations, a 12S4P, 6P, and then 8P. It's able to be used with street wheels or pneumatic 5-inch with CNC hubs. What makes this board special is it has its own belt tensioning system. It automatically tensions your belt, which is very nice. It runs from $2,600 to $3,300. It's got a top speed of 40 miles per hour and a range of 50 miles on the largest battery configuration. It looks pretty expensive for a 12S belt drive system. There are plenty of raving reviews for this board, just on how powerful it is and how responsive it is. So it truly looks like a great board, but it just falls a little bit on the more expensive side of things. There are plenty of great options if you're going to spend $3,000. If you have $3,000, would you spend your money on the Hoyt Tabor? The next one is Metroboard Pathfinder. The Metroboard Pathfinder also has the same battery size configurations at 12S 4P, 6P, and then 8P. These battery configurations are almost exactly the same as the Hoyt configurations. For those of you who don't know, Metroboard is now owned by Hoyt, so that many specs and parts are actually shared between these two brands. When you look at the Metroboard Pathfinder and the Hoyt Tabor, you'll find that a lot of it look really familiar. That's because they're sharing parts across. The top speed is the same. It's got 40 miles per hour. It's using the same motors. This board looks a little bit more expensive for a close to $3,000 board. On a side note, on Black Friday, it was having a $1,000 off sale. If you can find this board on a sale, it's probably a really good deal then. Next one on the list is the Acedeck Ares X3 direct drive board. This board features 4 direct drive motors and provides monstrous torque. There's a motor on every single one of these wheels. It utilizes a split angle deck design, and it's got 2 50 amp ESCs. I think Acedeck for their next iterations should be amping up their ESC department, should be providing a little bit of more power. Even though that it's a 4-wheel drive, there's not enough amps going to these motors, so they still feel not as strong as they should be, provided that it's a 4-wheel drive. It's got a lot of batteries packed into such a small space, so that it's able to retain this extremely slim profile for its battery packing. The top speed is 37 miles per hour, and the range is 31 miles on the 12S 8P configuration. This is one of the most interesting boards in 2023. I have one incoming, and I'm currently making a review for it. So be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of the reviews. This one, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call it the UIOFO, the UIOFO LW22 is a short board with integrated LEDs. It's also sold on the EOVan website for much cheaper for some reason, so if they still sell it on that website, go to their website and check it out. Maybe these two are sister companies, sister brands, or something like that. The selling point of this board is that it has hot swappable batteries. You can just pop the battery out, put that in there, but I think it looks kind of ugly that the battery pack is in a complete different color than the bottom of the board. In my opinion, it should be black. It shouldn't be something that's gray, looks gray and just cheap looking, that sticks out, doesn't look as good. This board runs on direct drive, has a very unique looking remote. It's got a top speed of 28 miles per hour and only has a range of 14 miles due to the configuration, due to the size of the batteries, but you can carry more packs with you. This board currently costs about $850, but I think if you're going to spend $850, there are better options out there. And plus, this is a no-name brand. Their website looks really wonky. Might be, if you buy it, they might go bankrupt in a year or two, and it might be a risk for you. Next is Possway Lynx. This board has already been completely pulled off of Possway's website. You can no longer find it. It's not even a placeholder that says out of stock. That entire webpage has been yanked from their website, just completely gone and erased. This is a mid to low end longboard, contains Samsung 40T cells, and also has shred lights installed. It's got relatively small motors at 6355. I feel it's incredibly underpowered for its MSRP, but at the time of making this video, there was a 50% sale going on. So I think at 50% sale, which I think at the time was $499, it's a pretty good deal, but it's completely out. And since they pulled and yanked the website, I don't think it's ever going to come back. The Verreal Ace is a shortboard. It uses a 12S2P configuration and Samsung 40T cells. It only has about 345 watt hours, goes up to 28 miles per hour, has a 35 miles range. It uses a 5255 motors, and the size is equivalent to 6368, so it's pretty respectable. It's only on sale for $500. It's an okay looking board, but for $500, this is entry-level price for a mid-range board. So I think this is a really good price if you just have $500 and you want the best bang for your buck. This is it. Shaboardz Summit V3. It uses a 35 amp ESC, which is slightly underpowered in today's standards. Uses 6370 motors. Uses a 12S3P configuration, packs a lot of battery actually at 518 watt hours, but then it only has a range of 18 miles. So this board is all over the place. It has a top speed of 27 miles per hour, so this board is really all over the place. I think the only thing good about this board, what makes it stand out, are these color options. If you have a girl, you can pick the pink option, you can pick the yellow option, but it's not the board that is painted. It's just they give you different tire options, right? So it sits at $1,000, and I think this board needs to be at $700 to be an okay deal. At the current $1,000 asking price, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it right now. Next board, we have the Acedeck Z1 off-road electric skateboard. This board features a box on top of the deck to give you more clearing on the bottom of the board. The only similar design that I know is from trampo boards, and that requires DIY. You still need your own battery pack. So this is the first. So Acedeck is one of the first commercial companies to offer a board that is natively having a battery box on top, and I absolutely love this design. I have the 90 amp version, which is the street version. Is a little bit less powerful and it's made for the streets, and that board is still a monster. So I can't even imagine this upgraded off-road version with 120 amps ESC, how much power this thing will output. It feels ultra premium. If you look at the trucks, if you look at the board, everything just makes you want to kind of touch it because it just feels so nice. This is a great board. It's got a top speed of 37 miles per hour and a range of 39 miles. It uses 50S, one of the top battery cells in the industry. It also uses a more refined second generation gear drive from Acedeck. Currently, this is one of my favorite boards of 2023. I'll definitely have more reviews of this board coming up, so be sure to be subscribed in order to not miss out on any additional reviews. Next is Meepo Aurora. This board is no longer for sale and can't even be found on Meepo's website. So this is Meepo's answer to Backfire's LED skateboards. One of the downsides about the LED boards, including the Meepo version and the Backfire version, is that the decks are extremely stiff. That's kind of like the trade-off if you want LEDs. But then the thing about these lower range, mid-range boards is that they should be flexible in order to be more fun. So that's a huge trade-off. And that board at the time also includes a gallium nitride fast charger, so it's incredibly worth it to get it at that time, but it's no longer on sale on Meepo's website. I guess it's a failed experiment because they're no longer saying like there will be more coming in the future. Like the entire web page is just deleted. Next is onboard carbon Zeus Max all-wheel drive. This is a crazy looking all-wheel drive that uses premium 3K carbon fiber as a deck. It uses 4 6584 B3 motors, goes up to 37 miles per hour, has a range of 28 miles on a 13S5P. Overall, it looks extremely nice as an all-wheel drive board, and it currently sits at $1,700, which I think is a pretty good steal if you're looking for a very powerful all-terrain all-wheel drive board. The next board is Lorentz Major version 2. So they came out with a second iteration of the Lorentz Major electric skateboard. They had a pretty rocky start. They had a lot of misspellings on their websites and things like that. And they started by charging the board around $4,000. But the good news is that it seems like the average price is now stable at $3,200. This board, I would say, is a steal. When the board first came out, I took a dump on it pretty hard because of its price, but I think for $3,200, this board is really good. It's got dual 5,500 watt rated motors. The motor size is 7280. If you compare this to any known production board, the motors will just be a lot bigger than anything else, than any other motors I've ever seen. It uses a custom 14S configuration and uses 130 amps in its ESC. It also has Bluetooth connection. It goes up to 40 miles per hour. It's got RGB status light, and it also has an Ironman battery readout on top of the board, so you can just look down and quickly see about how much battery you have, which is really nice. It also uses metal alloy wheels, which usually cost a couple $100 just to get separately for a lot of other brands, and they include this for free. And it also has a smart BMS system with precise range readouts, much better range readouts than other boards. And the smart BMS system allows you to see battery health. This is incredibly important as not many boards tells you how your battery cells are doing. If you charge and run a bad cell, you might actually start a battery fire, which could be bad if you're sleeping, right? So currently I am just really loving what Lorentz Major is doing and how they have iterated so quickly in just 1 year. So I really plan on buying a Lorentz Major version 3 if they do come out with one early next year, because everything about this board looks very enticing at this price point. There's also the WowGo 3E. WowGo 3E has a handlebar. It's one of the cheapest belt drive boards. If you want an entry-level board, most of them are hub motors. This one is belt motor, and this is one of the cheapest 12S battery configuration. Usually 12S battery stacks will give you more voltage, therefore better performance and faster rides. So yeah, the WowGo 3E looks great on paper. I also do have a WowGo 3E in my inventory, which I will be testing and also raffling out sometime next year. So be sure to be subscribed to get a notification when I release those videos. Next is Wraith Vengeance Carbon 4-wheel drive. This is a weird, interesting board. It's advertising its top speed as 81 miles per hour, but it's only using two 100 amp ESCs. I guess technically maybe it's possible to get up to 81 miles per hour using 100 amp ESCs, but they have two, right? And it's only using an 11S2P configuration with a roughly 400 watt hours, but it's using LiPo batteries. So this is not your usual configuration. And and another thing that's really interesting about this board is the knuckle duster remote. It's a remote that goes on your knuckles, so it looks pretty interesting, pretty cool design. So I guess you don't lose your remote when you're going fast, I guess. This thing is ready to go. So this thing is ready to go really fast, and they have a video of a rider breaking the world record on this board going at 81 miles per hour. But the specs on this board is truly head scratching, right? It's for a $3,000 board. You have only 400 watt hours of battery, only 100 amps ESC 11S configuration. So how does this thing go up to 81 miles per hour? I don't know. And looking at the board, looking at the street wheels, urethane wheels, I don't want to go any faster than 30 miles per hour on this thing. So I end up with more questions after looking at the specs. What do you think about this board? Would you pay this much to buy this board if you have $3,000? Would it be the board that you get? If I had $3,000, I would actually get the Lorentz Major version 2, but that's just me. This one is called TrackPod. It's actually a Kickstarter right now. It's got a unique foldable design. So this is a foldable longboard, and it looks like it would carve really, really well with the special design. The wheels and trucks doesn't just go parallel to your deck, it actually extends out like two antennas. So it looks really interesting. It's incredibly weak though. The motor power is only 450 watts and it only has a 187 watt-hour battery. But what is going for this board is its carvability. It looks really carvable, it looks a lot of fun, and the portability that you can just pack this together into like a small suitcase and bring it with you. Next board is the Meepo Super V3S. What makes this board unique is the handlebar and the USB plug on the bottom of the board that allows you to easily plug in LED customizations. It's lightweight, it has very standard entry-level board specs. The next one is the Meepo Mini 3S. This board is essentially the V3S. You take all of its drivetrain, batteries and everything and slap it under a short deck and it will be the Meepo Mini 3S. Performance is virtually identical. Next is WowGo Mini 2S. This is WowGo's most powerful short board with belt drive motors. It's able to hit 28 miles per hour, has a pretty good kicktail, also has app support, so you can change the specifications, change the ride dynamics of this board on your app. It's WowGo's first short board with a belt drive system. Next is Exway Ripple. The Exway Ripple is only using a 99 watt-hour airplane legal battery, so you can actually take this board and travel around. It's only 13 pounds. It's one of the most lightweight boards on the market today, and it has LEDs integrated to enhance the looks. It's able to charge in just 1 hour with a gallium nitride charger. This is one of the best travel boards that you can buy. The next one on the list is the Basecamp F11. This board has a top speed of 10 miles per hour and 9 miles of range. I'm just going to skip this really quick. I think this is for kids only, and your kid needs to be around under 50 pounds. Otherwise, this thing is just not going to move forward. The next board is Basecamp Ghost. This board looks a little bit more promising. It's got 70-75 aluminum trucks and it's got a carbon fiber enclosure, 12S2P, battery configuration goes up to 34 miles per hour and has a 25 mile range for a short board. So overall it looks pretty good, but currently it's at $1,300, which I think is criminally overpaying. It should be somewhere around $800 to make this a good value. Next on the list is the BWatt Mountain Snake series. There's a couple different designs, some AT, some street boards. This is in Europe only, and the website is in French. So yeah, they do have a couple really good designs here. So be sure to check them out if you're in Europe. I don't think it's worth it to import anything from this into the United States, just because the design looks pretty similar to most of the carbon fiber longboards that we have seen for a while now. Next is Bioboards Plutonium 2S. This again is a European design and comes with heavy VAT, which is value added taxes. The max price of this board to ship to the US is $5,750. It comes in a 16S6P configuration, has about 1400 watt hours of batteries, can go up to a claimed 60 miles per hour, which is absolutely bananas, which is absolutely crazy. It has full app support, and yeah, it's got 2-hour fast charging as well. But be mindful that this is a European version of a board. Be prepared to pay a heavy import tax on this board. The next is Pivot GT and Pivot S from Propel. This company makes all-terrain boards. This is their first design for a street board, and I think they knocked it out of the park. The focus here should be on the S, which is the cheaper variant, and is only $800. For $800, you're getting a 55 amp ESC and 6374 motors. These are very respectable specs that are usually only found in boards that's $1,000 or more. It even has a top speed of 36 miles per hour and a 26-mile range, all for $800 and a gorgeous unibody carbon fiber design, which just looks incredibly nice, and it even has integrated LEDs. Personally, if my spin taps off at $800, this is the board that I would go with. And of course, if you have $200 more, I think the GT is a much better and more aggressive version of the S, so it's definitely worth stepping up the extra $200 if you have the money. Next is the Tynee Mini 3 and the Tynee Mini 3 Pro. These are short boards, but these are extremely powerful short boards with 13 S2P monocell batteries. And they have a range of 26 miles, and they have a top speed of 32 miles per hour with integrated LEDs. This is an insanely powerful shortboard, and the price starts only at $559. And the Pro version has an ESC with 80 amps, so the Pro version is actually bonkers powerful for a shortboard. So if you're looking for the most powerful shortboard of 2023, I think the Tynee Mini 3 Pro is probably your best bet. The Tynee Stinger also looks pretty promising. It has a Hobbywing 80 amp ESC, 6368 motors, and the 12S battery configuration. It's meant to be an Evolve Stoke or Meepo Flow competitor. The Stinger is cheaper than Meepo Flow, and it offers much higher amperage in terms of ESCs, and it's got beefier motors. So if you're looking for this Evolve Stoke surfboard type of electric skateboard and you want the most powerful version of it, the Tynee Stinger is the way to go. And they also have ad support. It's the same app that WowGo is using. It's very bare bones, but you can make some good changes on the performance of this board using that app. The next one is Tynee Ultra X. The Tynee Ultra X uses an 80 amp ESC and 400 watt-hour of battery. It looks like a very solid Meepo Voyager contender. It's got 26 miles and goes up to 37 miles per hour. Every spec about this is a step higher than the Meepo Voyager. Everything about this board just looks great, and possibly one of the better boosted style electronic longboards out there. I personally have no experience with tiny boards, so I don't know how good they are as a company and what the quality of the board is. Hopefully next year I'll be able to test out a review unit, but just on paper, Tynee is really stepping up the game for this mid-range section of electric skateboards. Next is Raleigh Wasp and Wasp Pro. These are huge mountain boards. They go up to 39 miles per hour top speed and have a 43 miles range, and with a 1000 watt-hour battery pack. The design looks pretty cool, but I think it's still a little bit overpriced at $1,500 as a price level. At this price level, I expect to see a lot more included into the board, such as a gear drive, integrated LEDs, and high amp ESCs and large motors, but they don't have any of that. So it looks pretty bare bones. If it goes down to about $1,200, I think that would be a better deal. The next one is Omni Eskate. I'm actually quite excited about this one. Omni Eskate started as a high premium parts only company, meaning that they sell only parts, but now they sell so many different parts they might as well just piece together a board using all their premium parts, and this board is the result of that. This board is highly customizable. It falls a bit on the expensive side of things. It's close to $2,000 for cheapest board that you can piece together, but hey, everything about this board just screams premium. Everything is premium and everything can be bought separately, meaning it's upgradable. Once Omni Eskate comes out with new parts, new upgrade, you can just take them off and upgrade them. So yeah, the cheapest price starts at $1,700 for the cheapest configuration that I can put together. Next is Onsra Velar. Onsra Velar right now has a cost of $2,400. According to me, it has a 24 miles of real-world range test, traveling at close to 20 miles per hour and carrying a 200-pound person. It's got a 14S4P 50 cells configuration, and the top speed is 43 miles per hour if you gear it correctly. I've never tried to go that fast, but from my own experience and from my own reviews, this is one of the hardest accelerating boards that I have ever tried. It also allows a rider to customize the trucks and bushings so that you can raise the deck and you can lower it. You can put the bushings a little bit on the side to get more balance, or a little bit towards the center axle of the deck to make it much more responsive. Just this board screams premium. I have it in my inventory. I did an initial review. I'm going to be doing a lot more reviews and testing on this board, so if you're interested, be sure to subscribe for future content on this board. Next one is the Acedeck Ares X1 2023 edition. It uses an all-new gear drive system, and it uses a 90 amp ESC, which has 80% more power than its previous version. It has new TKP trucks, and it goes up to 37 miles per hour. Right now, the board is only $1,700 and is insanely powerful. This is one of the best carbon fiber boards of the year. The Acedeck N1 Nomad has 3 different editions. The cheapest one starts at $1099. The cheapest one starts at $1099, but once you upgrade to the middle one and the upper range one, you'll find top speed being 30 miles per hour with a 35 miles range. Once you upgrade to the 90 amp ESC, you'll find the acceleration to be mind-blowing. Everybody, including me who have tested this board, just thinks this acceleration is out of this world. It's one of the best accelerating boards of this year. So if you're looking for the thrill to go from 0 to whatever it is that you want to be as quickly as possible, this board is for you. I have heard some reviews from range test people saying the range of this board isn't as good as what they declared it to be, so the range is somewhat limited, only 70% of what the claimed range is, so just be mindful of that. But if you do want insane power while you do have battery, while you do have charge on your board, then this is the one for you. Acedeck Stella S3. This is a mid-range $600 board. It has a 28 miles per hour top range, 22 miles range, standard belt drive, 13S2P Samsung 40T battery, and about close to 400 watt hours in terms of battery. So this is kind of like your average mid-range boosted style board, but I do have to say the deck is incredibly thin, so it's not going to hold up a really heavy person. But what makes this deck unique is that it's incredibly light, so it's incredibly flexible, and when you're doing a lot of carving, it's just a ton of fun on this board. Acedeck Stella Mini is essentially the previously mentioned Stella S3 longboard. You take off the deck and you slap everything else back onto a shortboard. That is the Stella S3. Everything else about the Stella S3 is exactly the same as the Stella Mini. So if you want a powerful shortboard, this is for you. Propel Endeavor 2 GT. So the Propel Endeavor 2 GT is a pro version. It uses a customized FOC ESC and it has integrated lights. So what this allows the riders to do is to do a lot more customization if you are a lot more technical and you require a lot more fine-tuning. Most boards come as is and you can't really do anything about it. You can't change the curve. Some of it will let you change the strength, but the customization, the strength of acceleration with deceleration is nowhere near as advanced as what Propel is letting you as a rider to do. So this is very good of them to offer such a pro version. Next board is the Backfire X. The Backfire X took the e-skate world by storm. It has an ice blue LED system. It uses a 34 miles range. It has a 34 miles range, 31 miles per hour top speed, a 14S 2P Samsung 50S battery configuration, and it uses 3358 motors. This board is incredibly powerful and really pulls hard when accelerating. This is one of the first 14S configuration boards that ever came out. And it uses a color LED remote. This remote is great. It feels great in the hands. It's all metal, aluminum on the top part and then hard rubber on the bottom part. What makes this board unique is that you can look at this board, monitor the health of your batteries right on your remote. Not many electric skateboards have this advanced BMS on their board to allow you to do that. And we have all seen a lot of battery fires. So I think if you're worried about the safety of your boards, get the Backfire with this remote. Next is Backfire S. This is all in purple. Backfire S2 is a much tuned down version of the X, and it's just in purple, right? It doesn't use the 50S cells, it uses 52. It uses the 50T cell. It feels a little bit less powerful. And also just know that these LED boards are incredibly stiff. They're super stiff boards. They're not bouncy, but stiff boards makes it very stable when you're going fast, and this board is certainly very fast. It also does still have the color LED remotes. Next are the other more weaker boards of the Backfire LED series. These boards also do glow. You have the Backfire Zealot V, which is just a smaller and cheaper version of the X. Deck is a little bit smaller and so a lot less powerful, but it still looks just as cool. So if you want something that looks great, looks just like the more expensive Zealot X, then this is the board for you. The next one is Backfire G5S. So this is the same size as the Zealot X and the Zealot S2. This is the same size as the Zealot X and the Zealot S2. However, it is completely red. It glows red, this ominous Diablo 4 red, and it has the fancy LED that shows you the health of the batteries, but is a hump motor. But the hub motors is pretty powerful too, at 750 watts. It's not like an entry-level board performance. Acceleration is not as quick as the Zealot X and the S2, but it does climb up to 28 miles per hour. The next board is the Hadean Mainframe. These boards are quickly released and sold out. They're priced at $2,700. It's released in blue, red, green, and many different colors with a clear see-through enclosure. It's a $300 increase from the base Hadean Carbon base models. And there's no other improvement, it just looks a little bit different. I think they only made 7 in each color, so it's incredibly rare if you're into collecting these type of boards. The next one is the B1 Balrog S and H. These boards are priced at $600 and $800 respectively, and they show pretty good performance at 12S 2P Samsung 40T batteries with around 355 watt hours. Belt drive, they have 1000 watt motors, so they're okay. I think for $500, the entry-level board for a long board, it's pretty good. However, you know, the battery size is limited, the motor size is limited, so I think this board is very forgettable. The next one is the V-Star Osprey Carbon. This board is already fully released. It's now lowered, the price is now lowered from $1,450 down to $1,250. It's got integrated LEDs, it's got a carbon fiber deck, it uses 13S 4P configuration with Samsung 40T cells, and it's got about 750 watt hours of batteries. They also have a 2000 watt hour option. That is crazy, and it costs only $1,700. It's got a huge battery pack and incredible range. It also has a swappable compartment as a selling point, I guess, so you can kind of take out the underside and swap batteries. It's great for DIYers, but for most people it probably doesn't matter at all. The next board is Mboard Endurance. It's released earlier this year. When it's released, it's $2,600, but now it's around $2,300. It uses a forged carbon fiber deck, and it's got a range of 50 miles, goes up to 35 miles per hour, has a roughly close to 1,500 watt hours in terms of battery capacity, a 12S 8P model cell, 12S 8P configuration, uses dual 3250 watt 6368 motors. So it also has DKP trucks, and it uses a color screen VX4 remote. Mboard Endurance looks extremely good, but it falls a little bit on the pricier side of things, but considering its spec, it's probably all worth it. Next board is a Flipsky Lightning. The Flipsky Lightning runs at $2,400. It's got 3684 motors, running at 4,000 watts, and it also uses the VX4 remote, which is color screened. It looks pretty unique, pretty nice. It's got a 14S configuration, runs at 46 miles per hour top speed, so it goes pretty damn fast and has a range of 62 miles. The only thing about this board is that it's pretty ugly. It's got an ugly design. It just looks like a giant box with 4 wheels on it. However, for $2,400, this thing is jam-packed with technology, with power and performance. So if you think this board looks okay, for $2,400, I think this is your best bang for the buck. Next is Floatwheel ADV Pro. This is released in the middle of 2023. You can only purchase it with cryptocurrency, which I already purchased. It has a 600 watt-hour battery capacity in a 20S2P configuration. It uses a 6 HP Cannon core motor. This board is a lot more powerful, even more powerful than the new one-wheel GTS that's currently costing about $3,200. Say what you want about Future Motion as a company, but one-wheel form factor is a lot of fun when you're not crashing. It stands and it pivots on a single point as opposed to the 4 wheels firmly placed on the ground of an electric skateboarder. It certainly feels like it's floating, so it's a lot of fun and a lot of risk. Full reviews coming up. Be sure to be subscribed to get that notification. Next is the Onsra Challenger Pro series. It comes in direct drive, belt drive AT versions. It uses a new NX controller with color LEDs and tons of customizable options and ride statistics. It has a 2-year warranty, 50S battery cells, and preloaded with the Tarmax wheels. And it has a kicktail design. So Onsra quietly, not necessarily quietly, but they did certainly upgrade their Challenger series of electric shortboards. Onsra also updated their Black Carve series. They're called Black Carve 3 Pro. The series also comes with 3 different boards, the direct drive, belt drive, and belt drive AT versions. It also comes with the new NX remote, 2-year warranty, 50S battery cells, but has a 75 amp ESC and 6374 beefier motors. This looks to be an extremely powerful setup, and I absolutely love how the new Onsra trucks look. Next is the Evolve Renegade. The Evolve Renegade runs $2,500 and it's binding ready. Also, the carbon fiber deck is incredibly flexible. It uses Samsung 50S cells, best cells in the industry in my opinion, and it uses 6368 motors and also uses the Evolve Phase remote, the newer version, the one that doesn't just fall on the ground and breaks. It also has front and rear LED lights integrated. It also uses spring-based channel trucks. It also has incredibly robust in-app customization. I have a different take on the Renegade. Most people look at it and say like they're overcharging it, but this board is one of the lightest and most flexible AT boards I've ever seen. It's unlike other stiff, hard carbon boards. This one allows you to be flexible, absorb the bumps on the road, be light-footed, and do more complex tricks on it. It looks extremely promising. Next is Honorike by Evolve. This is a collaboration between Evolve and Loaded Boards. This deck looks incredibly unique. I don't think anybody else has it on the market, but it runs you about $1,100 to get it, and it has a really abysmal 200 watt-hours of battery and with OK motors. So I think this board looks great. It looks like it carves great, performs well, and looks really responsive. It's just the battery capacity looks extremely meh. Next is One Wheel GTS. The One Wheel GTS was released earlier this month. The One Wheel GTS is released in November this year. It's the $3,200 upgraded successor to the One Wheel GT. It's about $1,000 higher, but it gives you a little bit higher voltage. It's an upgraded motor, but it's still a weak sauce. I do not recommend this board. You should just get the Floatwheel ADV Pro for better performance and much better value in my opinion. Interstellar Boards launches Mboard 2.0. This board has about 30 miles of top speed, 35 miles of range, about 700 watt-hours of battery in 12S 4P configuration. Everything about this board looks pretty good, but it's designed with DIY in mind so that all the parts are interchangeable with future Mboard parts. So if Mboard comes out with new, better parts, you can just swap it out. So it's not bad for $1,500. Last one is Xboard Legendary. This board is a 16S8P configuration. It uses 2X 7,000 watt motors. The motors are extremely powerful, but this board really looks meh to me. The design looks kind of average, you know, it's nothing like, oh wow, that looks great, but it is extremely powerful. It can go up to 44 miles per hour with the correct gears. It has a range average of 50 miles, and it costs close to $4,000. But for this price, I would just get the Lorentz Major. at this point. The boards that I want to see for 2024 is WowGo AT3. WowGo took the world by storm with their WowGo AT1 and made an okay AT2, and then just like, where's the AT3? It's been like 2 years. Where's the AT3? I don't see it. I would like to see that. Backfire Hammer 2, right? They Backfire released the hammer, but they haven't updated that in like close to 2 years. And then the same thing with Exway Atlas. I think they were just kept on iterating on the Atlas. They have Atlas Pro now, but I would really love to see an Atlas 2.0, a complete redesign from the ground up. Alright, so that's everything. Did I miss anything? What are you most excited about, and what do you want to see me review in depth? Sound off down below. And remember, I'm running a raffle to give away a Meepo City Rider 3 at the end of the year. All you have to do is to be a subscriber and make a comment down below. Making these videos are incredibly time consuming. Like the video and subscribe keeps the channel going. Without you, I wouldn't be here today. If you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you for your support. Have a good day.